Okay, so the story was worked at the country club for a couple of years and had a chance to leave and go somewhere else, and also had a chance to go spend some time with my father before he passed. The caveat was, instead of giving a 14-day notice, I was only able to give a 10-day notice. I had been there for a couple of years, like I said. I was really involved in a lot of the kitchen operations. I had a lot of the recipes. I had a lot of that stuff going. So I had quite a bit of responsibility there. But at the end of the day, I was just another line cook. I wasn't a sous chef or anything like that. So talking to the chef that I really reported directly to, he was very understanding for my career opportunity and the fact that my father was sick. The executive chef, however, was not, and it was a little bit of a problem. And that really stuck with me and bothered me about, like, man, I've really given a lot to this company, and I'm not looking to leave here to walk across the street for 5 cents more. There's some extenuating circumstances here. So I was hoping to be a little bit more understanding than that. And I have sort of a mini story that ties into this lesson as well. Before I went to culinary school and switched careers and everything, I worked for a large transportation company worked there, started in Green Bay, worked in Chicago, then moved to Dallas and worked there. And all in all, I was with the company for about 8 years. Very good company, still a very good company. They're industry leader. I still have a lot of friends that work there. Really good stuff. The office that I ended up working in when I got to Dallas sort of started to devolve over the years. And it kind of became just not a great environment. I've talked about this in previous episodes as well. And long story short, at the end, I ended up getting fired. And part of it was I was in culinary school. They knew that. And I think they knew I wasn't going to be there long term. Part of it was I probably most definitely was checked out after a certain point. And then part of it was, and again, this is where it ties back into this loyalty piece, was that I'd been there for 8 years. I had done several jobs. I had helped open 2 offices. I really been a face of our office and our division of the company, and been really involved in a lot of things. And within 30 days, poof, and nothing happened to me. My performance wasn't rock bottom or anything like that. There probably was a decline because of just like I said, going to culinary school, and kind of my heart wasn't in it anymore. But not even a conversation about, hey, let's work to turn this around, or hey, we've seen some issues here. Let's address them and let's talk about them. And that's a person. That's not the company that would make a decision like that. But at the end of the day, companies are made up of people, and people make decisions that aren't necessarily reflective of the company's values. So when I talk about loyalty, the lesson to me that I learned is the company can have the loyalty, right? The country club I worked at, or this transportation company that I worked at, or whatever, they can have mission statements and values and all sorts of things, and preach, community and people and family and all of that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's individual people or small groups of individual people that will make decisions that will directly impact you. So for me, it was a sense of kind of feeling almost like a slap in the face. And there's probably my own ego involved in all that as well. But when I was at the country club, it's like, hey, come on, man. There's real stuff going on here in my life. And then previous to that at the transportation company, it's like, hey, I've been here almost a decade. I think that's earned me at least a conversation about my performance, as opposed to just saying, hey, you're fired. And I didn't do a good job managing my way through that and, understanding severance and all that. I was young. I was 28, 29 years old. But anyway, the lesson to me with that is that companies can have loyalty, quote unquote, but the people who make the decisions, oftentimes it's more transactional for them. And there's always going to be the next project, the next holiday buffet that I had to work at as a line cook, that the next deadline, the next important customer, the next whatever. And it's just the next one. That's all it is. And it's the most important thing in the world until it's over. And then you move on and you never talk about it again, and you just keep going forward. So there's always going to be a next whatever when it comes to work. So the loyalty piece of it is just be loyal to your work and your responsibility. That's it. They pay you. You show up and do work, put in an honest day's work, do the best you can, and call it a day. But the lesson really I learned from that was that loyalty is really overrated. And if you're not careful, it can bite you in the behind, because you might have this version of loyalty to the company, and they gave you a job and you've moved up through the company and you kind of feel like you're an important player there, and you probably are. But on the other side, it can be gone in an instant like that. And it really is, it's not even a one-way, it's not even a one-way street. It's really like a one-way usefulness of companies, especially the larger they get. Your loyalty is only valued insofar as it's still profitable. And I'm not trying to go on a tirade about big companies or anything, but just be leery of that, to not be so emotionally invested, or don't tie yourself too closely to a specific company or whatever. And even if it's a great company and everything is going well, and all of a sudden your boss leaves and a new person comes in, and everything can look differently in 5 minutes, right? So that is a very important lesson to me that I learned.